Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Ethan Beatty podcast. Today I am with.
Hi, I'm Dom Cherry.
Hi. So, how's your Christmas, man?
Yeah, it weren't too bad, honestly. It was good to see family again after a few months here, obviously at uni, and just a general catch up with them, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas this year was weird.
Yeah, it was
Say the
definitely
least.
awkward for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think with COVID and everything else going on in the world, it's been a bit of a mad one.
Yeah, it's not exactly been a decent year that we were all hoping for, and
God.
unfortunately, with the first week gone by of 2021, it's not looking like it's getting any better, is it?
Yeah, we've seen President Trump
Yeah, silence technically on Twitter.
be silenced on Twitter. Then
all the riots, and
arguably
things.
incite violence.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I mean, everyone's talking about, how awful Trump fans are for getting violent in the Capitol building.
Yeah,
and the thing is, people are trying to say, oh, it's worse than the BLM riots that were going on in Portland.
There's a few people that are saying it's technically acts of like terrorism and things. Obviously.
Oh God, yeah. But you could also argue that the BLM riots and Antifa riots that were going on in America, particularly in Portland, I mean, they held one of the government buildings under siege, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean
that was going on for days.
Yeah, I didn't look too much into that personally because I had other things going on, but it weren't like. It weren't like I wasn't like there for it. It wasn't like I weren't paying attention because I was, and I was making sure. And I did read some of the things like you were saying about in Portland. But with this one again, I've seen images of it all, and I've seen some clips about it. But I think for me personally, I'm not really a political person at all, no matter where it's coming to. And so it's interesting to see that there are these things going on in the world, and it makes you really question like what goes through humanity's mind as such.
Oh,
like,
God, yeah.
And bits like that. And for me, it's just a case of I don't see why or how people would think it was all right.
Yeah.
And like obviously with the protests, obviously
don't
that's
feel
a
like-
good thing in a way.
I don't feel like either side can be condoned. I don't think you can say either side has done right here.
No.
And the scary thing is, with some other Trump fans, have come forward and say that they were sobbing. I mean, there was one guy who was on Good Morning Britain. I think he was with Piers Morgan.
Typical.
He said that he actually wept at what happened with the Trump fans. And it's scary, isn't it?
It is, and it's a case of what he's still technically in power for another 2 weeks or something, isn't it? And
yeah, another 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you got to think he's technically been silenced whilst it's still in reign. It's not like obviously it'd be a bit more understandable if Biden was already in power then.
And this is what Trump fans are gonna do now that Trump has been silenced. They are going to crawl away into dark corners.
Yeah.
Potentially, like these,
there'll be a lot
the
of boycott.
extreme fans that we saw at the Capitol building.
Yeah,
there are going to be more people like that.
Yeah,
now because
it'll
Trump has
get
been
worse
silenced.
as well. It'll get worse because of that, and there's going to be a lot more boycotts and bits like that. Basically, all over America. It won't just be the Capitol. They'll go to places like, say, the Washington Monument, maybe even the White House.
You are going to see you're going to see a lot of far right groups emerge out of this as well. Like at the moment in America, you can very much see a far left force and a far right force.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And those forces clash.
Yeah.
And law and order, rule of law in America, isn't necessarily being applied to both sides. Yes, they are saying some of these things. And, they are attacking buildings and stuff like that. But the Portland riots were allowed to go on for days.
Yeah.
And that's an issue that was never brought up.
I think because they went on for so long, the Trump supporters that we've seen in the Capitol building will look at that and be like, well, they got away with it, so we'll continue.
And the scary thing with this as well is what's going on with Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter Twitter and Facebook and social medias are massive monopolies in the world.
Oh, 100%.
Like Facebook and Twitter are the two largest social media platforms.
Yeah.
And they both have very and I use this term loosely, liberal standpoints. You know, they are looking at the speech that is being given out and they are reviewing it. It's peer analysis pretty much. It's peer review. But you're having that on your speech. And when we see what happens with, you know, the tech side of things now, especially in the social media groups, they tend to be very leftist kind of people reviewing these comments. And with that as well, because if they will look at it as, if you disagree with BLM, you are a racist. You don't want racial equality or anything like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's where I think it gets taken like too far out of control, personally. Because just because you may not necessarily support it doesn't mean you're anti, say, Black Lives Matter or anything like that. Because
there's a difference between Black Lives Matter slogan and Black Lives Matter trademark.
Yeah.
When you look at the organisation of BLM and you look at their mission statement, they call themselves neo-Marxists. They call themselves trained neo-Marxists.
See, I didn't look into that, so I didn't know that.
No, it was on their it was on their mission statement.
That's what I mean. I'd never looked into the mission statements or anything like that, because...
But BLM goes a lot further than just racism in America. It does involve in, you know, other things that don't involve.
But I think a big thing, what a lot of people might not necessarily agree with that, is because of the riots. Because obviously it was a bad timing, in my opinion, as well, because of, say, COVID going on at the time as well. So you had everyone having to mask up and be in small groups.
And the thing is
all these
it's
riots,
the left who are complaining about Trump fans not wearing masks.
Yeah, and it's like
it's just like all you guys were huddling around each other a lot. You know,
these
Trump
riots,
fans
obviously,
were
yes, granted that majority of them, if not all of them from the photos that I'd seen, were wearing masks. It's still a case of you're still mass gatherings.
All together.
Literally,
and
there's
this
photos
is the thing.
of
Trump
them.
was still having rallies during COVID.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And a lot of his fans were not wearing masks or any of that.
But that's also a case of...
But also Trump fans weren't rioting on the street all that time as well. You know, and also what's a bigger stand to capitalism than robbing Nike stores, Foot Lockers and stuff like that? It's just like, no, you're just contributing to the problem.
That's where, in my opinion, it's too far.
Yeah.
And I don't agree in that side of the protests and things. And I think that a lot of people are in the same boat as me when I say that. And I think that's why, and where people get confused on the fact of they don't support the movement or they don't support the actions going on.
Yeah. And even to support the movement, it can be very scary.
Yeah, you've got to be very careful.
Because the movement can mean a whole bunch of different things. There's what you think it means.
Yeah.
Which, you know, unless you've done your research, can be what other people think. And then there's what it actual meaning of it. And the actual meaning of it is very scary.
And the thing
the thing with BLM... I have to ask this question to people who support BLM more than anything. If Black Lives Matter, why is all the money that went to BLM gone to the Democrat Party, to a president-elect now who's going to take power next month in 2 weeks' time? Why was that president? Why is that man? Why was he allowed to say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black? Why was he allowed to be a part of a system that's been corrupt for the last 30 years, which his entire political career span? Why is that allowed? If Black Lives truly matter, you would be putting the money they raised back into black communities, back into black schools, back into black businesses. But they're not.
No.
They're not. It's gone into Joe Biden's back pocket and Kamala Harris's. And there's something I'll also say about Kamala Harris. She was part of the reason why there was mass incarceration of black people into the prison system in America. She's been a big influential player. She is a proper. She's properly screwed them over.
It is stupid on how it's gone, and again, I think that's the case of because people didn't necessarily think it out straight away.
Mm.
It started as a small. I mean, the whole movement in itself started as a small thing to.
Well, it started
Technically, it commemorate
4 years ago, 5 years ago
Yeah,
now.
it started
in
4 or 5 years ago,
2016.
and it obviously it kicked off more last year because
Oh,
of
God,
the
yeah.
whole shooting and everything on
I,
George Floyd.
I think I think the kneeling on George Floyd's neck,
I think that was a big shock.
it was
Well,
used.
not necessarily a shock, but
It
it was a wake up call.
It was a wake up call to police brutality and stuff that should be sorted and whatever. However, there are groups such as ACAB, All Cops Are Bastards.
Yeah.
And then they all were also saying defund the police, and it's not defunding the police they need to do; it's reform.
Yeah, it's
Police reform is really important.
Defunding's not going to do anything. That's not taking away their power as such in order to use the arrest, do the arrest like they did in that scenario. If it's reforming them and retraining them in the ways that it should be handled, that's what is going to make the change, and that is the big part of it that people need to realise, but they don't, and unfortunately, that makes the issue at hand a lot more worse.
They're trying to solve one problem by using
Another problem.
Another problem. You know, and the thing is, it's very scary.
It's like
It's
my
very
mother always
divided.
says, 2 wrongs don't ever make a right.
No.
And that's been proven in this state, unfortunately.
And they're talking about capitalism and Trump's so-called fascistic tyranny, but they're fighting that with communist Marxism,
Oh, don't.
and that's even worse. I think what we've learnt through social media and Twitter is that censorship is very prominent, and it's very lax towards left-wing policies at the moment. So if you have a different outview, if you post on Twitter and you're a moderate or you're a conservative, you are blasted as fascist, and you can easily get your account taken down.
Yeah.
Just like President Trump.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and
no,
I mean,
I get what
there's
you
also
mean.
Brett Weinstein who got taken off Twitter as well, and you're just like, if they can do this to anyone they don't
and
like,
It's like now,
With-
obviously
with-
with this whole thing, it's made...
with the truly authoritarian left-wing government, with that social media liberal standpoint and, well, censorship,
Yeah.
especially with a leaning tolerance for the left, you are going to see a lot of moderates get shut down, a lot of centrists get shut down, a lot of people who are actually looking at the situation from both point of views and saying, look, both of these sides are wrong. They're
Yeah.
going to get shut down.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, you know, as long as you're talking about anti-right-wing politics, you'll be fine. And as long as your solution is the leftist narrative, you'll be fine. But if that gets into politics and power, that means that can go an even step further.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
George Orwell's 1984.
Mm.
You know, that is getting more and more prominent every single day, and well, you look at what happened in Maoist China and Stalin Russia. You know, I think it was 50 million dead at least in Stalin Russia, 100 million estimates in Maoist China.
Something like that. I can't fully remember the facts off my head.
And the thing is, it's going to get to that point where we are controlled by
It'll be a
an
case
either
of one
proper
leader.
fascistic leader,
Yeah.
or we are going to be taken control by a full-blown communist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And either way,
that
they are
is
going
just-
to abuse that power.
No,
It will be authoritarian.
with the way things are going, it could also end up in, no offence, but war. All-out warfare.
Well, yeah,
Because
I mean,
people are not going to agree with each other. And
there's also what's going on in India and China.
I've
as
not
well.
looked into that, so I'm unaware
I think it was
completely.
at one point in 2020, Indian forces had been attacked by the Chinese on the border,
Oh, right.
and India
I
were
think I
pretty
heard
angry.
briefly of it.
And there was some stuff going on there, and it's died down
Yeah.
quite a bit recently. But
Thing
what
is,
China are doing with
Question is,
the
though, has it died down, or have they just stopped reporting on it and claiming it's died down?
We don't know. I mean, I've not seen
that's
too
the
many
thing.
articles about it, so it could just be that it's not being
That's what-
pressed enough.
That's what I mean, because obviously, again, like we were saying about the whole shutdown on Twitter and everything, because in a way, those are technically classed as more relevant topics at the moment with everything going on. They're gonna get more views and things off of that story and off of those headlines, so it makes more sense for them to go out and
The
publish
news
more
like
articles
to
and that
choose-
instead of that.
The news like to choose articles which either provoke or
Entice the audience.
entice.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Daily Mail definitely provokes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
there has been
and
some articles on there
as
that
an
I've read,
example, and I've read the Daily Mail sometimes and been like, whoa.
It's not even a case of like fully choosing.
I mean,
to
I'm
read
a
it. It's like,
Telegraph reader,
It's
so
it's like the case of you could just be doing your shopping down at say Morrison's or something, and then as you're leaving, you see the newspaper stand and you see the headline of the Daily Mail,
yeah.
or something like that. And
The Daily Mail's always on the top one.
it's either Daily Mail or Sun. They're the big two that you see now.
Yeah,
at
because
least.
the Sun tends to entice a bit more.
The Sun tends to
But
entice,
the
but
Sun
yeah,
is
I
also
also
written so terribly.
yeah, and I find also the case of with that it's.
The Daily Mail and the Sun are really basic papers.
They are. They don't. I don't feel like they go in depth enough in their
No,
articles.
it's like they're explaining it to either people. This sounds offensive. I don't mean it offensively. If you're a Daily Mail reader or a Sun reader,
Oh yeah,
that's
no, we're not.
fine.
Yeah, we're just saying
But-
our opinions on
But,
the
but we are
papers
just saying our
ourselves.
opinions. We are not having a go at what newspaper you read. But however, it does feel like they aren't written.
To be fair, that's even if you read
very
newspapers
well.
nowadays, because depending on what age group you're in,
And to be
You
fair,
mu-
this is coming from a Telegraph and Times and sometimes Guardian reader, but
to be
the
honest,
Guardian annoys me with their op-eds. I mean,
9
Owen
times
Jones
out of
is just
10,
a
I don't
whiny
even look at the news.
person.
I'll quickly brief over it on my phone, but that's it. And
Hmm.
it's just a case of if something catches my eye. But I tend to stay to more. I don't know if you know, but on like your phone, you can get like Google articles that are like more relevant to your searches and things.
Yeah.
So like it's more relevant to your interest, and that's the kind of thing that I read upon. But unless it's something really big, like important, like say COVID announcements, and when they say like Boris is going to do another speech or something, that's when I make sure to definitely read the full article.
How do you feel Boris has handled COVID?
Personally, I think he's done quite well so far. There has been times, I will admit.
I can sense some hate coming.
No. I'm open
Thought
to
police going to be all over you now.
Yeah, probably.
You're going to Gulag.
I'm done. I'm dead. Mate, I'm dead after this. You won't see me after this podcast again.
Antifa just shows up. Fucking.
No. I think there has been times where obviously he could have done things better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But overall, I think for what he's put in place, I think has worked. But I think again, it's a case of people are
It would
sick.
work if people could follow some of the restrictions.
And that's what I mean. It's the case of it comes down to the people like being bored and of being told the same thing, and bits like that. But I think now.
I mean, it's quite funny, isn't it? We've got a government telling us not to go outside and social media censoring us.
Yeah, it's not only that, but I think now that they've got
What a time to be alive.
some type of vaccination for it that does.
How do you
work
trust
massively.
the vaccines? Because we've now approved 3 vaccines.
But
I
that's the
think-
thing. Yeah, it's 3 vaccines they've got at the moment. But then, not only that, but COVID itself is getting new strains.
Yeah.
It's like I think it's on its 2nd or 3rd strain now. But I know the second one definitely, because you had the original cases of it that were mostly affecting the elderly, and then this new strain that they found was more affecting youngsters, like say mine and your age. And
Really?
yeah, they found it was affecting everyone still, but it was
Jesus.
more deadly for the young, like young adults and teens, and that's what they found.
Okay, seriously, people, can we just learn and listen to what Boris says and just stay the fuck at home?
Honest to God, if people
We want this to be done.
that's the thing. If people stay indoors from now, the quicker they do that, the quicker the vaccine can get out, and not
What
only
we're
that.
talking about, universities ain't going to do that.
Oh God, no, like, I just got back into
All about herd immunity.
I just got back into uni today. You helped me and everything because I was moving into
Yeah, you're
a
2
new
flats
flat.
above me.
And it's
Oh
like
my god, no, police are going to come. Ah,
it's the same building, but it's like
Yeah.
we make sure that
come on the same course. We spend.
we're basically in the same bubble anyway, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. And it's like, even though, yes, we live in the same building, we're in the same room currently, we still make sure we follow all protocols when we're out.
We wash our hands. We wear masks.
We
search
use
for
the
distance.
sanitizer, distance, the lot, because
Oh,
at the end of
I wear gloves.
Yeah.
I wash my hands
yeah,
before I leave. I wear gloves.
yeah,
To where I'm going, I take those gloves off.
That's what
I
I mean.
wash my hands again. I pick up the things from the supermarket.
personally, I can't wear like the latex gloves. It's like a
I don't wear
it's like-
latex ones. I wear wool.
That's what I
ones,
use
but-
because I can't wear latex in general anyway. And so I use my normal like winter gloves basically. And if I don't put them on because my hands are too hot or something, I'll just make sure I keep them in my pockets, like in my coat pockets or something. Because that way, not only am I keeping myself safe, I'm keeping others safe. Because you never, all it could take is someone to put their hand on a back railing to go down the steps, for example. You don't know who's touched that or what's happened to that before. You don't know when it was last cleaned. So that all that bacteria is on your hand, and then you go to touch, say, a door to open it. That's how the infection passes. That's how the virus is spread.
That's why people have to keep washing their hands
Yeah, and
all the time.
that's why
and
that's why the government is constantly saying, make sure you're washing your hands. If you have to go out, make sure it's only for necessities. Stay at home, and the quicker you do that, and the longer we get, like, the more people that oblige that, the quicker we can have a somewhat normal life back.
And even the people who are protesting lockdown, understand that actually, if you just stay at home for 4 weeks,
It's not even that.
if we all stayed at home for 3 weeks, really,
Even 2 weeks would do a massive difference in cases. I mean,
we need to
past
give time for everyone, because if people have just come into contact, it will take a week for them to show symptoms.
Yeah.
And then they've got to have 2 weeks of the illness.
I made sure I had two
But-
COVID tests done before coming back to uni to be safe. And not only that, but because I was coming from a tier 4 area, if I'd got
I came
stopped,
from Stoke in Staffordshire, which is a tier 4 area.
it's like if I got stopped on the way, I can prove, look, I'm going back to uni, I've had 2 separate tests done, proving that I am negative.
Yeah.
My mum's obviously just dropping me off and then she's going straight away. She's literally staying in the car. And that's all it is. And that's as simple. That obviously is a necessity because we have an exam coming up. That's why I wanted to get back. And
We have an
It's-
assessment.
Yeah.
I might try and go home after that.
I mean,
I
fair enough
think
if you want.
I
mean,
think the
our
lockdown
technically
and-
teaching doesn't start till what, Feb, I think, anyway.
No, it doesn't start until Feb.
But it's like,
So
for me, it's a
let's spend
case.
a couple more weeks at home.
I've seen so many people on social media
Hopefully.
saying that if they say we go into lockdown, well, obviously we are now. If it means losing, say, 3 weeks of going out partying or just even meeting friends for a drink of coffee or something,
could do that.
just in order to get like I said, a somewhat normal life. Because let's face it, there is no such thing as normal.
No.
Never has been, never will be. Because
No,
everyone's
we
view
don't-
is different.
And we don't want this to become the new normal for everyone.
I mean, no.
It feels
I'll tell you
horrible.
one thing about this that really, really pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
Is the fact that so many people refer to it as just another flu. And it's not. It's nothing like it. Yes, okay, you may see somewhat symptoms similar, but this is more deadly. And if you compare cases to this and the flu, this has like 10 times more. If you look at cases of this compared to the Black Plague,
The thing
it is
people-
very similar.
The thing with people now, though, is because the world population is so big and you look at the statistics, it's only affecting 1% of the population.
And I think because people are looking at it like that, they don't take it as serious. But what they don't realise is this is very similar, like I said, to the Black Plague. And that 1% is just going
It's
to
causing
increase.
a lot of deaths. And
A
also,
lot
what
of
I hate
families are
about-
losing.
What I hate about
precious
this as
loved
well
ones.
at the moment, everyone's saying, "Oh my God, the NHS, the NHS, the NHS."
The NHS is backlogged.
Yeah,
It's literally struggling, and it has been from day one.
and-
More now than ever, like Boris said himself.
And Julia Hartley-Brewer on Talk Radio, people are having a go at her because she said, "Why do we need to stay at home and protect an NHS that we pay for through tax? Why should we?" Right? And she's got a reasonable argument for that, which I can see. Because we pay for the NHS. They should be properly staffed, properly trained, and we should have enough space for patients to go to. However, that is the point of view that I am taking for that, with that comment. And my point of view with that as well is what's happened in the last 10 years that has directly affected police funding, NHS, fire department, youth services, education. It is austerity.
Yeah.
They have been taking money out of these areas of public spending and they have been putting it into their own back pockets.
Yeah.
And politicians are very corrupt.
Yeah, it's why I think, no offence, but like politicians, they should have a massive pay cut. Because I don't know if you're aware,
and also
their bonuses are stupid. I'm pretty sure their bonuses are like a third of their wage alone. That's just a bonus. Well, if they cut that massively, all that can be going to, like you said, the NHS, youth things, and police, the lot.
And also with this thing about Brexit as well, and
he's just...
and a decent case for Brexit is that, you know, we can take control of our laws and stuff like that, and borders, and we can get people like more nurses and doctors in who we need, and also because we can make our own laws, and this comes from a very liberal standpoint, and the only time and probably one of the few times I'll mention drugs on this podcast is the legalization of either medicinal or recreational cannabis.
I think
because
if
the
it's
Lib
medicinal,
Dems estimated roughly, I think it was £3.7 billion in tax revenue that can generate. And I think
I can't fully remember, but that does sound about right.
I think it could potentially be more.
I think
it would easily be more money.
The current situation we're in, it will definitely be more.
Yeah, because everyone's just gonna be like, "Fuck!"
Not only that, but
this is so fucking stressful.
Exactly, I think
they'll be rolling like 3 joints a day
because of the stress we're under and everything. It would, no offense, but help the situation we're in.
God, yeah,
it'd help ease people. It'd help, in a way, make them realise.
I think politicians could do some psilocybin therapy as well. You know, just like go on a mushroom trip, explore your brain, explore shit going on, and look at shit from a different perspective.
They wouldn't though, because they're so. No offense, but a lot of them are already brought up with money. They don't earn their way into it. They are basically brought into it.
What do you think Jezza Corbyn has done? I think Jezza Corbyn has definitely been toking before.
It's not. The thing is, though, because... well, it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. Same as Boris, it wouldn't surprise me if he's done something.
Not gonna lie. Wasn't it Gove who was smoking opium?
Honestly, God, if it turned out that he was on drugs the whole time, it wouldn't surprise me.
Really, I mean...
It'd be great to see. I mean...
Politicians, especially in the Conservative Party, have come out and said, "Oh yeah, I smoked opium." It's just like...
Are we sure that we're actually on about you? Are we sure that you are talking about yourself and not a friend?
Yeah.
You can't... It's like... it's so...
Yeah, I think it was Gove who said
weird.
He had smoked opium.
I don't know.
While he was trekking somewhere.
It's like I said, I don't really look into politics because to me, it sounds like a bunch of cocaine as well. It just sounds like a bunch of school kids fighting on a playground to me.
God, yeah.
And it's why the only time I will really ever pay somewhat attention to politics is when it's coming up to an election. Because that really matters. And my views when it comes to election, and like I said, this is literally my views, is anyone over the age of 60 should not be allowed to vote. And I say that simply because, no offence, and I I don't want to sound harsh, and I don't mean this offensively to anyone, is when you're at that stage, say not over 60, say over 70, yeah, is, no offence, but
what if those over 70s are voting for a party that could do some serious difference, and without that age group, what if that party that could do the amazing things not be elected because of that age group just not voting?
Like I said, it will come with its pros and cons, but my point of view on it is, when you're at that age, in a way, I see it as you've fulfilled your life. I'm not trying to offend anyone on that. That's my views on things. If I was at that age, I would, if it came up to an election and I had, say, a grandchild or something that was in my position now, and they were looking at it and they were saying on how they think this person, this party is going to be better for them, I would vote for them, for the simple fact of, the big thing is, it's affecting. If they vote for someone, say, Conservatives, but then you're looking at Lib Dems. So you think
older people should vote for parties that hold the best interests in young people?
For the younger people, because
I
that'll
agree with
help
that.
them.
I don't personally agree with old people shouldn't vote.
I'm not saying, like, stop vote in general. That's just a term that I tend to say when I'm talking about it, because I don't really I don't know another way of explaining it, because I've always said it to, like, my family like that, and they've agreed with me in the sense of they get what I mean, but it could be done in a different way. And I think no offense to other people, but it's a case of, when a new party is elected, the main people it's going to affect is people between the age group of, say, 16, when you can start working, to just before you get to retirement. Yeah, the working
even
class.
Even at retirement, it affects you.
But it's like, if they're on about education and things, it's going to affect people who are in school now.
But if
right
they're
up to
talking
university,
about pensions and care homes, that affects
the older generation. What is understandable, and that's why I'm saying it does come with its pros and cons. So it's a case of, what can you do? How can you balance it out? And that's why it makes more sense to change and tweak things. Not necessarily I'm not saying, like, do it how I've just said. I'm saying that as an idea, but with tweaks involved. What it'd take, obviously, several people to do and come up with an agreement on that. I feel like that would be a better place for our political views on things, and I think that would also help a lot of people, say, of the younger generation and the elder generation, and then all those between that are currently in a working state.
Yeah.
And that's as political as I'll ever get, honestly, because, like I said, it just sounds like a bunch of school kids on a playground, and it just goes straight over my head, because I can't be asked to deal with whiny adults.
No, it's not even whiny adults.
It's just whiny people.
Yeah, and what I noticed since being at a liberal arts college and doing a liberal arts course, even now, is at my arts college, yes, the teachers were fairly lefty, whatever. However, because they were college teachers and senior school teachers, they weren't
have an open mind.
They weren't allowed to push it on people. However, and the students, I noticed that on my course, and I noticed on my year, and even that has now got worse, according to one of my acting friends. He actually did a post about it on his story the other day. And he was just saying, look, stop the hate, please. Stop blaming white people. Stop having a go at white people.
Saying the fact of having a go at white people, I think, also can resolve back to what we were talking about earlier with the Black Lives Matter protests. Obviously, that is a big thing.
Oh, yeah, they're blaming white people for
They're blaming white people, but it's a case of it. If you look at certain things, they're just looking at the fact of, say, privileged white people.
And they're also not saying, they're not saying there are some terrible white people. They are saying
white people in a general.
They're saying white people are terrible.
and it's not. It's a case of.
You know,
I'm not.
you're
again,
white. Why should you have an opinion on this?
And again,
you're a white straight male. Why should you have an opinion on gay or LGBT in general? It's just like, hold on, because actually we can give insight to it.
Yeah, it's like with this next statement, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but when they say things like that, they are looking more at the privileged white community, the ones with money that oppress their opinions.
And also, let's not forget, a lot of these social justice warriors, and you saw it a lot in America, you saw it a lot over here with protests, a lot of these people who are saying, you're white, you can't say that, you're a white straight man, just like, look in the mirror, you're also white.
Yeah.
Like,
you're
white. You're white too. You're white like me.
Yeah.
Why? And I've had arguments with people about this. I actually had someone have a go at me and say, "Oh, you're a white straight male who's just insensitive," and I literally just turned around and went, "You're white too, brother honky. What the fuck's wrong?" That is called exercising your freedom of speech rights.
So I was in a similar boat once. I was talking to a friend and we were just having a conversation like we are now about things like this. And this woman, she was like, for some reason she decided that it was a good idea to eavesdrop on our conversation. And she had a right go at me, calling me a white cis male, a white cis straight male.
Oh, I hate that. I
turned around to her. I was like, right, first off, I'm bi, love. Secondly, yes, I am white, but so are you. Thirdly, it's an opinion. And secondly, I have no idea what those 4 words meant out of your mouth.
You're a white cis male. It's basically saying, you're a white male, but you're also biologically a male.
It's
and that term, like the grouping, the grouping that is there now, is you've got trans women, trans men, and then cis women and cis men.
It's
just like, hold on, how about we just have trans men and trans women, and then just men and women? You don't need to call us cis.
I'm sorry, but cis is an abdominal growth in your body.
Yeah,
that is what a cis is.
Apparently, a woman is just someone who menstruates now.
Oh, it's mental.
It's just
right. This could be taken very wrong in certain people's eyes.
Don't worry.
But I am not offending anyone. I'm not meaning to offend anyone if I do. And personally, I'm going to say this, and you may hate me for it.
We don't care. Let's get offensive.
Hate me all you want. I couldn't give a shit. But I'm obviously bi. Yeah, I'm openly bi. I'm happy. Part of the LGBT community. Yeah. But I think it's got to a point where it's fucking stupid and it's just classed as a label now.
Oh, God, yeah.
Especially with younger generation. I've seen people younger than me turning around.
It's identity politics. It's grouping you into what social standpoint you're on.
I feel like people use the term gay and lesbian and things like that.
And it's to divide you. It's to segregate you by your sexuality, your gender, your race.
You know. It's just like I was saying.
You do that?
Like I was saying, I feel like people use the terms gay, lesbian, bi, trans, all as fashion statements at this point in time.
Oh God, yeah.
And it's not even a case of someone
I'm bi.
For someone like me, I just look at it just like, right, you're just taking the absolute piss now. Same as, no offense, flat earthers and people that think there are and same as people that think there is more than 2 genders. Why the fuck would you identify as an attack helicopter? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't get people who identify as furries. Right. Right. Okay. This is a top quality story.
This is interesting.
Obviously, I told you that I went to a liberal arts college.
Yeah.
Right. One of my mates, whose name I won't drop for this.
Yeah, fair enough. That's understandable.
You know. So there was a girl in the class who was called Emily.
Mm-hmm. Look how I said we're not name dropping and then instantly just boom, Emily.
Yeah. Well, name drop the person, but Emily could be anyone.
True.
Right?
True.
So, Emily,
I'm just saying, if you're watching, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, Emily from... No, I'm not gonna go specific about it.
We won't do that.
Emily is an ambiguous person. It is her real name, but fuck it. So,
It could be you, Emily, watching right now, or you over there.
or it could be any of you.
It could be me for all we know.
Could be. Who knows? Who knows in this age of self-identification?
Oh, it gets out of hand, and honestly,
It is out of hand.
I'm one of the people that
Although-
want to turn around online and just tell everyone to shut the fuck up and grow a pair.
Same.
And I hate the fact that newer generations, people that are younger than ourselves, currently listening to this podcast, are all fucking snowflakes. Like, anyone born after the year 2005 is a fucking snowflake.
Not gonna lie, there are some kids out there who are probably gonna grow up to be more conservative now.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, because they're gonna
100%.
look at these fucking woke tards just like, what the no! But, you know, the thing with this story, so, my mate and Emily were in the class and the teacher was reading it out. And he read out the register and he said, Emily, and she turned around and said, I identify as a furry, please call me Onyx.
Okay.
Alright?
Yeah.
My
I
mate,
instantly think of the rock Pokemon, not gonna lie.
now my mate, one of my mates,
The guy we're not name dropping, I'm
Yeah.
assuming. Yeah.
he turned around and said, Sir, if Emily wants to be called Onyx, can you call me Megatron?
Fucking Megatron.
Now, the teacher then decided to not just kick him out of the classroom,
Yeah.
but they got a senior leadership teacher. They got the assistant head teacher to come down and have a chat with them.
Yeah.
Now, I should also say, another one of my friends also turned around and said, your sexual kink is not your gender. Which
Relative.
is fucking true.
It is.
But,
It's like,
you know, just fact. But
hearing that story from an out point of view, I understand in a way why they got a senior member of staff to speak about it. But I think also at that day and age, it would have been simple enough for
it was
whoever.
kind of new, it was kind of...
Yeah, not
It
only,
was kind
so
of
it's like not everyone may have understood
edgy.
about it straight away.
We're just kind of
Personally,
new
I
and
don't-
edgy, and it's
Personally,
just...
I
ugh.
find furries and like the whole persona thing a little bit odd, but I don't hate on it
Anyone who
because
dresses as an animal to fuck
it
each other,
is an odd.
dress as other animals, I would argue that's borderline bestiality.
Yeah, I can.
That is
right.
That is some
I can understand.
messed up shit.
I mean, I guess it classed more as bestiality if only one of them was dressing up as the animal, because technically that would be human on animal in a way.
Yeah,
In a
It's
way,
still
like
weird.
like I said, I'm not gonna kink shame or hate those people that identify as furries.
no, we're
because
not gonna
it's-
hate them. Do what
it's
you want.
what you
You're
want.
free
What
to do
you-
what you want.
is,
However, you
I
gotta be
don't-
open to be offended. You gotta be open to take that criticism.
Yeah.
Because not gonna lie, the
If-
world is a pretty harsh place.
If you're gonna go around telling people, "Oh yeah, I'm a furry," you're going
You've
to get
got to
criticised,
expect
and you
black-
have to expect people to
backlash.
turn around and talk about it. As if you were just to keep that, say, in the bedroom, in a private matter, in your household, it's not so bad. And I think that is a big issue when I call people snowflakes, is because they go around leaving all this in their bios.
They go
It's
around.
like they turn around and be like,
Oh, the gender.
what is it? She's like, people that turn around and be like, oh yeah, Scorpio, 19,
He, her.
he, her, she, bim, bits like that.
Just like
it's not needed.
it's just like you don't need to list your pronoun.
no.
I
Like,
mean, I understand if you're trans, fine.
yeah,
But
in that situation, understandable. But it's people
but if
that
you're a quote cis white girl, you don't need to say she, her. You don't
No,
need
you
to put that.
don't-
If
just
you're a
leave it
guy, you
blank.
don't need to put he, him.
yeah.
Because
And
not gonna lie, most people can just look at you and see.
I think
that.
one thing that's kicked this off even more, like, is
Unless
a
you're
big,
trans, in which make it clear.
I think another thing that's made this 10 times worse is the influence that TikTok have had.
The influence
because
of social media as a whole.
yeah, it's social media in whole, but I think TikTok is a big thing in general.
TikTok is
especially
just China wanting to spy on us and steal all our secrets and information.
100%. Hence why I've never used it. But
I have it installed. I'm a bit of a hypocrite.
but
What are they going to look at? My search history. Great. You know what I jack off to.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
Great day for you. Well
Yeah.
done. Well done, China. You've seen.
Hope
some
you enjoy that
disgusting
hardcore
shit.
gangbang. But no, it's like the influence that people on that media platform have, because there's so many younger generation people, even people our age, that are on that app say
Snapchat's full of it
24/7.
Snapchat's full of it too.
It is.
I
It can
mean,
be.
let's just take a look at my Snapchat on
I mean,
the subscriptions.
it's-
So I've got like the Telegraph, stuff like that.
You see, I never bother subscribing to anything on Snapchat because
Like-
I just can't be bothered. It's like that one there. Ask
the
the
aunties.
aunties. My girlfriend is ashamed of our relationship. Then
Yeah,
you
and-
don't
and-
need to publicise that. If she's ashamed of it, she will talk to you personally in a private space, and then it's to be worked out between the two
to be
of
fair,
you.
Ask the aunties is asking
If it's like
these gay
an
and
agony
trans
aunt.
people about their relationship stuff, and it's generally gay and trans people asking those people those questions, and they're just giving an insight.
What in a way is understandable if it's part of that
however,
community.
when people are pushing their transness, quote,
Their views of it
onto-
all.
not their views, because we're sharing our views about it.
Well, yeah.
We're doing that right
But
now.
what I mean,
But when they are forcefully encroaching upon people's lives in order to express their view on
that's what I
and
meant
they
in the
are
sense
forcing-
of their views. That's
they
what
are
I was
forcing their
referring
views
to.
on other people, that is wrong. And a lot of that happens on social media, a lot of it happens on Twitter, a lot of it happens on YouTube.
Oh, 100%.
It happens everywhere. It's just something.
It's
that
like me
is
and you
very
were
natural.
talking off mic earlier about how with YouTube nowadays you can barely find any good content anymore
Oh god, yeah.
because of
YouTube
the
is so
amount of
difficult.
censorship, because of the amount of just to get monetized on it in general. I mean, I highly doubt that this is ever going to get monetized for the simple fact of the amount of we swear and shit.
I mean,
There you go. But
I mean, at the moment, it's not a thing that necessarily
It wouldn't
wants to get
even be-
monetized
yeah.
right now.
But in the future,
and I think swearing tastefully, whatever, that's fine. But however, I have not made this channel appropriate for children. It's not appropriate.
no,
for children.
and I think as long as that is
because ultimately children need to stay out of politics.
Oh, 100%,
Which is
and
what
it's
I've been
why I
saying for a
don't-
very long time.
It's
You
why I
should
don't
not-
agree that people oppress their opinions on politics to young kids.
I don't even like that there are trans people trying to be like, kids at like primary school should learn about gay sex and learn about trans, and it's just like you're not bringing this up in biology in senior school. You're bringing it up to 8-year-olds and
When I was in
5-year-olds.
primary, when I was in primary, we didn't even have any talks about sex, right? We done nothing.
no.
I went to secondary not having any idea, and I learned everything I know off of my mum and her.
I didn't have sex education until probably year 10.
I had no
But,
sexual education
I mean,
classes whatsoever.
When you're
I
13, you
literally-
learn what a boner is.
At 14, most teenage boys start jacking off.
If not younger.
Yeah, but it's a case of I had no sexual education classes whatsoever. I was told everything from my mum and my stepmum,
Yeah.
right? As well as I taught like a few of my mates that actually did have sexual education classes in secondary. Like they explained some of it to me, and for me, that's how I learned about what sex was, what masturbation was, and how the male and female body
I had
works.
a talk when I was 11 about sex.
I
might have been 12 actually.
I can't remember.
I can't remember. I think it must have been. It was probably like touched upon when I was very young, and then like when I was around 9 or 10, and then like, you know, but. And the thing is, in lessons we didn't learn about gay sex or anything like that.
No, but it's
But the main reason why you learn about sex in senior school is biology.
Yeah.
And that comes
It
under
comes down
reproduction.
reproduction organs, yeah.
and you can't learn about gay sex and reproduction because gay sex doesn't lead to reproduction.
The only weird way.
I think homosexuality should be explored in biology.
Yeah, it should be touched upon, but
because biology does explain homosexuality at times.
Oh, God,
It's a natural thing in humans and animals that occur. That the world just naturally happens, and it's a way of cutting down population.
This will make you laugh, probably. In biology, we were talking about reproduction.
And by the way, I say those things happen naturally. I've also had someone have a go at me and say that I was a conspiracy theorist, believing that there are people, like scientists, going out into Antarctica training penguins to love cock. It just doesn't.
No.
Right?
No.
Those people. Bear in mind, I think she might have also been trans and might have also been too left. But she literally kept saying, "Oh, is that too woke left for you?" And I was just like, "Piss off, love."
It's like when I was in school.
Who you are, but just don't encroach your political views on me.
Yeah, when I was in school talking about reproduction and everything, we obviously learnt about heterosexual couples and how they reproduce. And then, instead of talking about, like, they briefly, and I mean very, very briefly, touched upon homosexuality and bits like that. But we learnt more about the fact that a female pig can have an orgasm lasting for 30 minutes than we did any gay sex. Things like that. What made no sense. Yeah, a female pig can have an orgasm that lasts up to 30 minutes. What makes no sense is why they talk to us about that rather than say
that's what they're teaching kids in school. Holy fuck!
It did for us. What made no sense because we never needed that information for anything.
I never learned that. Jesus,
we never needed that information for anything. So I don't know why.
That? Who thinks
that's a good thing for kids?
Who thinks? No, not even that. Who thinks I'm gonna measure how long a pig can orgasm for? Who?
Mate, have you seen what the Welsh do to their sheep? It wouldn't surprise me. That's just a joke. I don't mean
any
that.
Welsh people. We are insanely sorry.
Yeah, we do not mean it in general. It's okay.
However, it's true.
I do have family in Wales, so that's why I've made the joke, because they make jokes about us. So
we're just exercising our freedom of speech. We're not bigots. This is not bigotry. We are just expressing our opinion and having a laugh.
Yeah, it's nothing we say is meant to offend anyone.
Leftists, please don't hurt me.
Hey, you're gonna get a knock at your door in the morning.
Antifa, open up!
Your door just gets kicked down.
Fucking axe coming through. Antifa badges just. You said some bigotry, man. I'm a trans lady. He says while being 6'5", jacked up on steroids with a huge cock.
It's mental. The amount that people go on about it drives me nuts. Honestly.
People are going to have a massive go at me and call me transphobic about that one, but still.
People will find anything to moan about.
And the thing is, have you seen the bathroom argument with, like, oh, trans women should be allowed in in female bathrooms? And it's just like, okay, trans women, if they've done the op, and and they have a vagina, yes. And they have boobies, yes. However,
if you haven't gone through the procedure, you still go to the male lavatories.
God, yeah, if you've got them,
because let's face it, I'm someone that does drag on the side. You've seen me in it,
but you ain't go to a male toilet.
But yeah, I still go to a male toilet because. Just because I'm in female clothing, even if I identify as transgender, even if I'm in female clothing...
It's not even being in female clothing, it's the whole thing about self-identification and the risk that has. Not because, it's going to be trans women abusing their power, it's because there's going to be some fucking horrible men.
Yeah. It's like...
You open that gate.
There's no going back.
There is going back, but you're gonna have a bit more resistance. But if you keep it the way it is, and you just say, if you have a dick, you go to the male bathroom. It's done by sex. It's not done by gender.
No, if it's like I was saying, obviously I'm in drag and things sometimes, but and this isn't
And-
offensive.
and
I don't
also,
mean to be
do get worried
offensive.
about.
When
I do get worried about gender-neutral toilets because
I reckon that's going to cause too many issues and too many rape allegations and things.
rape allegations, actual rape.
Yeah.
You know,
The
and
thing
this
is,
whole belief, the
right,
victim mentality is very scary too.
I just want to touch up upon the subject of rape for the simple fact, and I don't, if this hurts or causes trauma to anyone, I am sorry. This is just a viewpoint from me personally, in the sense of 9 times out of 10, if someone has been raped, they will not say anything about it, for the simple fact of they're scared of what the repercussions could be. As there is people in the world that are, in my opinion, twisted-minded to call for rape when it hasn't happened, and it's been proven on several cases, but people just brush it off as if nothing happened,
There was
and it's ruining people's lives, and that's talking men and women, because
Oh,
as
yeah.
much as
a
rape...
false rape allegation against a man is going to ruin his whole life.
that stops
and
it, even
raping
if
a
it's...
woman is going to ruin her whole life.
But the thing is, as well, what people always brush off and don't seem to realise is women can rape men. And it has happened. But no one ever talks about it. And that is a big issue, in my opinion. We're all quick to jump on a woman's defence side of it, but no one ever supports a man.
mean, a woman could technically rape a man and be like, he raped me.
And that has happened. There has been several cases of that actually happening.
And it's not true. But people aren't being like, oh my god, all women are raping men. It's just like, no, it's not that.
No.
It's not all men are raping women. It's that there are some sick individuals.
Yeah.
You should not group them with us.
No, because...
Just because they may come under the same straight white male background or whatever does not give you the right to group a whole race, a whole sexuality, and a whole gender. It just doesn't add up.
No.
And what people are moving towards is the divide and conquer and dominate approach.
Yeah.
You know, divide and conquer is what is going on in the world. They're not looking at unifying and love. They're going, let's divide you up all into your groups of whatever the fuck, and we're gonna oppress you if we don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if our thing says, you know, to not, if our ideology says that
It's like...
you are a terrible person, you get grouped with that whole group.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you then get segregation starting to form, you know, and stuff like that. Identity politics is really, at times, in some cases, it's been good.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen that. We've seen its good aspects at times.
Mm-hmm.
However, now we are seeing when it's being pushed too far.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can argue that in any authoritarian government, there has been use of identity politics. Adolf Hitler in Nazi Germany, Stalinist Russia, and Maoist China.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I agree, totally.
All of which add up to a total kill rate of at least 160 million.
Yeah. No, it...
With the numbers being for Maoist China and Russia not fully known. We know roughly how many people died in the Holocaust.
Yeah. But that doesn't
However-
necessarily mean that is everyone.
Mm.
And that's the case. You're never going to fully get the truth of it all.
No. And especially with what happened in Russia and China was, even now they're still very much isolated.
Yeah.
So, you know, the outside world doesn't get much information. Whereas China and Russia are just being told information and just doing it.
It's like, this is a very sore subject, but like you said about China being isolated and things, look at the amount of people that have tried to speak about how COVID was man-made and have suddenly gone missing.
Please don't say that. Guys, if I go missing in a few days, help.
I'm not saying it was.
If
or
anyone,
not, because
if
I
anyone
honestly
sees me getting bagged on the street, come help, please.
I'm not trying to say that it was man-made or not, because I honestly, I don't know. I've heard so many different stories.
I may not agree with all these opinions. If you want to kidnap someone, kidnap my guest, please.
Oi. I have a life.
Kidnap
wanna
my
live.
guest. It's his views, they're not mine.
No, like I said,
I've not said anything about trying to love him. TikTok's great. Go.
no, it's why. Like I said, I'm not saying it is man-made or it isn't because.
To be fair, making a joke about TikTok.
Yeah.
Gone.
It's
Gulag.
a case of there's been so many different allegations, so many different stories. You don't know what to believe anymore.
Oh God.
And it's like that
There's
when
so
it
much
comes to any
misinformation.
subject. Like, unless you were actually there, we are never gonna know the truth.
Yeah.
And that's on any subject.
One question to kind of finish this off: how do you think we can fix this?
Fix what? Like
The
the whole
situation we're in.
the current time period. Literally, like the government is announcing, just stay indoors. Like, only go out if needed, and just try to follow the guidelines as best as possible. Because the quicker that's done, the quicker the vaccination can get out, and the quicker, like I said earlier, we can go back to a somewhat normal life.
Yeah, I agree with you. Anyways, that's the show over. It was nice having you, Dom.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Have a nice day, everyone. This has been the Ethan Beatty podcast, and I will see you guys soon.